Is it possible to reverse tooth decay with living, raw vegan, 80-10-10?
Since I've got the mic, I'll just say something. I think it's possible to some extent to reverse enamel damage if it's not too deep. If you've got enamel damage and it's not gone through to the dentine, and you're careful with your teeth and you don't have acidic fruit, pH acidic fruit, then it can reverse. And I've had that myself. I had a bit of enamel that had come off due to having a lot of oranges that weren't properly ripe, and the dentist said to me, that'll come back, and it did. As long as you're not continuing to having the stuff that damages it. But I think once you've got into the dentine layer, it is hard to repair, because there is enzymes that we have that stop our teeth growing. When we get our second set of teeth, animals like sharks and mice, their teeth continue to grow. They don't have the same enzyme. So I think it's not really possible. If you've got a very deep cavity, I don't think it's going to mend. But if you have a certain amount of enamel erosion, then that will come back, as long as it's not got into the dentine. If you look after your teeth and you make sure that you rinse them after you've had acidic pH fruit, you try and get ripe fruit. Another thing is about not brushing your teeth. If you have something like pineapple and it's quite acidic, if you can feel it on your teeth, then it's probably doing some damage to your enamel. But if you then brush your teeth, you're brushing that fruit acid into the enamel. So it's always better to brush your teeth before you eat fruit, if it's pH acidic fruit. Afterwards, you can rinse with water, or if you'd ever have some fruit, you have an orange and it's not properly ripe, or a strawberry and it's a bit acidic, or grapes and you can feel it on your teeth, then I would suggest rinsing with water to minimise that acid being in contact with your teeth.
I would like to ask honestly, does everyone put their hand up? Who's started eating more fruit and they've had problems with their teeth? Who's had an issue with that? How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, not that many. I thought it'd be a lot. How many of you guys? Any of you guys had any problems?
Not more than before.
Not more than before? Okay.
For me, I only had problems through neglect, not through fruit, not from fruit.
I would. Can you pass it to Ted? Ted, you did a really good interview with a guy who's a dentist, and he's a fruitarian as well. Tell us a little bit about what he said.
Yeah, I got a friend named Joe, Dr. Joe Hooper from Australia. And he's been a dentist for 10, 15 years now. He's been fruitarian now for 4 years, super, super high fruit, and 0 cavities, no cavities his whole life. And he says the reason he doesn't get cavities is because he always keeps his teeth clean. After every meal, he'll rinse and floss, and then half hour or an hour after a citrus meal, he'll brush. But he just always keeps his teeth clean. He'll floss 6 times a day, and he'll brush at least 3 times a day. And he says if your teeth aren't clean, then they're gonna break down. Much more likely to break down, get cavities. So you just got to keep them super, super clean. And he'll spend 5 or 10 minutes brushing as well, and then he'll do some coconut oil pulling just for fun as well, I guess. But he loves keeping his teeth super clean, like some people keep their car super polished. And no cavities his whole life.
Thank you, Ted. Do you want a bit more detail on that, Michael? I basically think the answer is that nothing can reverse tooth decay once it's got to a particular point, because there is no way for the body to actually supply the materials or whatever to actually do that repair.
That's exactly what Joe said.
There's no blood vessels into that part of the tooth to be able to do that. So obviously prevention is better than. But you've probably got a good dentist in Ireland. Not so good. Oh, right, okay. You need to do
Go
it.
to Thailand.
I've had tooth problems. I think dried fruit is a good thing to stay away from. Even dates, which are basically dried as well. Stay away from these things.